Well, we are now at the time where Winter Storm Landon is starting to take shape, and we do have Winter Storm watches, warnings, advisories already posted for the storm. We have Winter Storm watches in, and prepare for this. This is a lot of states: New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and New York. We also have winter weather advisories for Colorado, as well as winter storm warnings in Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. This is just the first round, and I fully expect that we see more winter storm warnings even before this video is posted. I am filming this prior to it being posted. But let's take a look. So we're going to start off and basically follow the NAM this entire day. We have the western part of the system pretty much set in stone at this point. The eastern part, such as northeast impacts, are so up in the air that, we start to see an idea, but there's still so much that has to occur first. So we're going to set that aside, look at the west today. So, we have that first round that we've been talking about for a while. This thing's been set in stone for a while. Most areas, such as Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, St. Louis, start off as rain, but as this very cold air seeps in from Canada, this will all start to switch over to snow, sleet, freezing rain possible north of St. Louis and eventually into St. Louis. But that first section of the storm is going to be mostly rain or snow, except for in parts of Missouri and Illinois. Then we see the second part of the system take shape back in Texas, as this first portion of the storm is still moving through parts of Indiana and Michigan and Ohio with some light to moderate snowfall, but that still could mount up even into half a foot in some spots, depending on where you are in comparison to that rain-snow line. The closer you are, the heavier the snow will be, or the rain, depending on which side of the storm you will be on. So, the second part of the storm starts to take shape here in Texas. Now, Texas is where I have the most concern about this storm, because not only will you be having intense rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow in a very vulnerable region for wintry weather, you will also have this Arctic plunge coming into Texas as well, and we all know what happened last year. So, in Texas, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But as this system starts to take shape, you can see very heavy freezing rain in parts of Texas, Oklahoma as well. Now, the snow in Texas won't be as heavy as areas such as Oklahoma, Arkansas, but you could see some spots with some moderate to heavy snowfall, especially on the back end. But now we have this low pressure here, and we have freezing rain from New York all the way to Texas. We have sleet from Ohio all the way to Texas. We have snow from Maine all the way to Texas. This is truly a colossal storm with so many different forms of precipitation, all having major impacts. Even sleet, which we really haven't talked a lot about over the past couple days, will be having a major impact here, as we could see just this wintry mess of some areas switching from snow to sleet to freezing rain in any particular order. Therefore, you can just have this entire area through here could just be a mess. Now, this second part of the system will be stronger. Therefore, you'll be having that stronger freezing rain, stronger sleet, and stronger snow in this general area down here. So areas in the first part of the system is a little bit further north, that first part, but some areas such as Chicago and Detroit will be seeing some impacts from the second part, just not as major. And as you move into the late parts of the second part, really 72 hours from now, we're really just starting to get an idea of what the northeast impact could be. And just quick advisory about that. If this low pressure shifts just a bit further south and we end up seeing it kind of move through here instead, we're looking at a wintry mess in the I-95 corridor. So in terms of my predictions, I'm staying pretty much the same. I'll link the video with my predictions in this video, my Winter Storm Landon video. But right now, I'm still thinking that the two areas for the greatest uncertainty are over here and over here. Nothing's changed there. Now, moving on. winds. Winds aren't going to be that major of an issue, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. But that second part of the storm will be the windiest part, with areas seeing potentially up to 25-mile-an-hour winds sustained. Those won't be sustained over long periods of time, but we could see a little bit of impact from that. Next up, temperature. Temperature is a big part of this, as without cold air, we don't have snow. And we will be definitely getting that cold air as it starts to plunge in from the north. You can see just this line here of 32 degree below temps, and this all plunges as far south as Texas. Just take a look at this snapshot here. Dallas at 23, Amarillo at 12. Then we move even further north, Oklahoma City at 17, Kansas City at 12, St. Louis 17. And this is just as this storm continues, we could even see, and it's really not loading it in yet, Amarillo, they're at single digits, Dallas in 20. So again, then you look at the other side of the storm, which potentially could see areas such as Boston that just got 2 feet of snow at 50 degree temperatures. So we have polar opposites here, and that's what has made this storm already so significant, because you're going to have the snow, sleet, freezing rain mess in the west, the rainy, melting snow mess in the east. It's just a countrywide mess. So moving on to our totals here. Snow totals. The NAM has currently loaded in most of the storm, and it does have a small target area in areas of central Illinois and Indiana. And if you live in those areas, you are either like, thank God we finally got some snow, we've only had like an inch and a half, or you're in the camp of, oh, well, I really liked having no snow, but okay. But a general swath of a foot plus from areas south of Kansas City all the way up into Canada. Areas such as, let's go through some major cities. Oklahoma City and Dallas are going to be on the fringe of some snow. I think you guys will be more in the impact range for freezing rain over that snow, but you could see some snow. Kansas City in that 6 to 12 inch range. St. Louis right on the edge, so I'd say let's split the gap 9 to 12, 9 to 15. Then you have Chicago, which is also in there, but they're right around that 9 to 15 as well. Detroit looks like 12 to 24. Indianapolis looks like you're right in that 9 to 15-ish range too. Cleveland at around that 12 to 24. Columbus and Cincinnati are both going to be on the warmer side of the storm. So is Pittsburgh. So is Louisville. Then you have areas such as Buffalo, which will be in that 12 to 24-inch range. I know I do have viewers from Canada, so Toronto seems to be in that 12 to 24-inch range. Montreal could be in that 12 to 24-inch range as well. Quebec City could be in that 12 to 24-inch range as well. But then again, we'll talk about that later. I might mention a little bit of Canada in my video for the eastern part of this system, and when we talk about specifically the Northeast. Now, in terms of icing, this is significant, and this will be probably the worst part of this storm. So, let's go through the major cities. Dallas could see significant icing. I think that Dallas, out of any of the major cities, actually, maybe Cincinnati has a better chance of some icing. But Dallas could see at least a tenth of an inch of ice is very likely. Maybe even a quarter to half an inch of ice. Areas such as Oklahoma City, not really there. I think you guys might be. That snow, sleet, freezing rain mess is just Oklahoma City. Like, there's just that potential for all three of them there. But then you also have St. Louis in about a quarter of an inch. You have Chicago at nothing, Detroit at nothing, Cleveland at nothing. But then you have Columbus around a tenth of an inch, Cincinnati around maybe even an inch and a half, Louisville around an inch, Memphis around half an inch to an inch. Then you also have Pittsburgh around a quarter of an inch to an inch, depending on where you are, just outside of Pittsburgh. Albany could see maybe even a half an inch of ice. So this is the most significant part of this storm. The icing potential for this storm is just the perfect setup. You have that warm, moist air getting pulled up from the Gulf and the Atlantic as the storm shifts. Then you have a large swath of cold air getting pulled into the US from Canada, and that air mass will just slip right under the warm air, and then you get freezing rain. So, finally, just total accumulated precipitation. This more applies for the areas that will stay in the rain. Still a significant rain threat. We have at least an inch of rain from Texas to Maine. So, an inch of total precipitation, which includes rain, snow, freezing rain, sleet, any type of precipitation. Some areas could see more, such as that area, Cincinnati, all the way up to Columbus and down to Memphis. That's why those freezing rain amounts are so severe, because you guys might be staying as freezing rain most of the time, and if it's heavy freezing rain, well, that's a big problem. You also have some areas in the south where we do have a chance of a severe threat. I don't believe it's going to be super severe, but I'll let you guys know if that does develop. Again, the second part of the system is more of a Groundhog's Day storm, but that is the potential for some severe storms as well. But that's a lot of information, so thank you guys for sticking with me here. I will be continuing to have updates on the storm every single day through at least Friday, maybe even Saturday if the storm goes into it, but I doubt it at that point. I think Friday might be the last day, even Thursday maybe, before we move on to the next system, which is already starting to take shape on some of the long-range models. But this storm is very significant and does deserve almost 100% of my attention because of how many people are going to be impacted by so many different types of winter precipitation. So stay here, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any of my updates. Things could change. This is a very volatile storm, so stay here for all the latest updates. But that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.